Yo guys, what is going on? Alex Pandrea here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another exciting video. In this week's video, we are going over the new deck that is being released on Sunday, 2 decks actually. We'll talk a little bit about the process that it takes to release these decks, the photos, the videos, everything that goes into it. Plus, stay tuned till the end of this video where I have a surprise for every one of you. This is something that I've been working on and I had this idea sort of for a while now, and I finally put it to a deck release. This is something that I don't think has been done before for a deck release. It's sort of out of the ordinary. But for this deck release, it makes sense, and for this vibe, it makes sense. So I'm excited to share that. That's at the end of this video. We are also going to learn how to do a very simple card routine, something that I've been doing sort of recently, or at least playing around with. And it's just an interesting concept of combining a few things you know, but I think it'll sort of set a benchmark for things that you could come up with as well. We're also gonna sign some cards for you guys, give away some decks. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. This coming Sunday, we are releasing the Nock 3000 X2 deck, the highly anticipated second version of the Nock 3000 X1 deck that was released last year. And not only are we releasing the purple standard version, this is the standard sort of version for the deck, we are also releasing a limited edition pink version of the deck, pink and purple. This is with a numbered seal. Only 1,000 of these bad boys were made. And of course, if you want to pick some up, they will be available on Sunday. Now, both these decks will be available on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, only on House of Playing Cards. So if you like this and you like the vibe of the deck and everything that we've put into it, it would mean a lot if you go check out houseofplayingcards.com on Sunday and enjoy the decks. Okay, story time. So about 6 months ago, this deck was supposed to be released. And of course, because of the pandemic and everything that happened this year, it got pushed back. The factories were closed and we couldn't print the decks. When we finally got around to printing the decks, they actually messed up on the print run, and it did not come out as good as I wanted it to. It wasn't a good product to put out. So here is the final product. And here is what they initially printed. Now you can see that the lines are not visible. So you could actually see the lines if you look hard enough, but they're just not there. And it would have been okay if they weren't there completely, but you could kind of see them. And you could actually see it better on the backs of the cards. You can see sort of a design pattern on here as opposed to how it really should be. And that really set us back another few months, and now finally they are out. So we've actually been working on this for the better part of more than 6 months to getting this deck out. I couldn't release this one. I was not happy with this. I'm not going to release an inferior product, so we printed it again. They came out pretty awesome. But now, what do we do with all these decks? So many thousands of decks we had to destroy and just sort of trash because they weren't good enough. But I kept 2 decks. I usually get 2 decks sent to me from the factory so I could take photos of everything. So I have 2 of these error decks, and I'm going to take 1 card, I'm going to sign the back of them, and we're going to include 1 autographed error card with a brick purchase this Sunday. So if you order the Cyberpunk brick box on Sunday, you will get all the decks that are there. There's 12 decks, a custom purple brick box, and also the autographed signed card. Actually, I'm gonna sign this right now. Boom. I actually signed the blank card, so if you get the blank card, then you'll know that it's the one from the video. Okay, let's talk a little bit about card magic and the idea of combining multiple things that we already know into a routine. Now, usually when you learn a routine, what do you learn? You either read a book, you watch a DVD or a download or something, or you watch me here on YouTube, and you see the routine and the moves involved in compiling, the separate moves to performing the routine, the full routine. Now, a lot of the times people take that and they don't really customize it or use the pieces for something else, or take that full routine and break it down into pieces and substitute those pieces with other things. You know, this is something that I was thinking about a lot recently because I'm doing my card magic course. Now we are almost at week number 5, almost at the end of the course. We've built a really cool community, so if you are on the course, thank you so much for the support. Now if you missed the course, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But just stay tuned for next month for around my birthday event. We always do something special. So it's not going to be the course, it's going to be something different, but I think you guys are going to like it, so stay tuned for that. But you know, just going through all of that material and just thinking about it and learning to think about things in different ways got me to thinking I should put together this to show you, which I will do right now. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so take your 4 of a kind, whatever they may be. I'm going to do the kings in this case, and just toss them off to the side first, because you're going to need to control whatever 4 of a kind you want on top of the deck. Now you could do this in a few ways. You can just have them on top and then do a few false cuts and false shuffles. You can give the spectator the cards to shuffle and palm these in afterwards on top of the deck. Okay, or you can individually find them, column to the top, something like that after they shuffled. But in any case, that is your setup, 4 cards on top. Now let's go through, before we go into the actual full routine, let's go over the false cuts that I use for this routine. All right, the first one is going to be a classic pass false cut. So it sort of looks like that. You basically cut the deck, or it looks like you're cutting the deck, but what you're doing is you're doing a classic pass. Now, if you don't know the classic pass, link above over here so you can learn it. But you're doing the classic pass, which looks like this. You get the card from the middle to the top, but in the process of doing that, you just come around with it. So you're doing the pass, and then you're just coming all the way around. So instead of the top packet going to the bottom, it goes, the top packet goes to the bottom and then all the way around to the top. Okay, and then you have this really nice false cuts that you can do, and it just looks like you're taking the bottom to the top if you're doing it fast enough, or if there is proper misdirection in the beginning, where you could just do that, do the first part fast and the second part slow, and you have your first one. The next one looks like this. It's a false cut to the table, so that's all I'm doing. It looks like you're cutting the deck. If you have the timing right and you have the attitude correct for this cut, it could look very, very nice. You're doing a swing or kick cut with the deck in a sort of biddle grip, overhand grip like this. So you're going to start swinging the top half with your first finger and kick it to the left side where the left hand is going to grab it. This hand now is going to come down from a horizontal to a vertical position, and you're going to use the right hand packet to tap like that. All right, just one tap is fine. You don't need to go crazy. Place the right hand packet to the table. This one then comes on here, and with the right timing and, like I said, attitude, it could look like a very nice false cut. Okay, now the third one is a very easy and standard cut. It could be used for controls, and like I said, these things could be used for different things. So think about, what else can I use this move for? The cut looks like this. You have the cards and you cut it 3 times onto the table or more, and you have your false cut. So all we're doing there is we're just cutting. We're cutting again into the left hand. And now this packet just goes down onto the table. This hand picks up this packet, and this hand picks up this packet like that, okay? So you can do it however many times that you want and still get that false cut. Now the last one is used more for a force. It is the cross cut force. It looks like this. The spectator cuts about half the deck, and you place this other half tilted off to the side like this, jogged or angled to the side. Use a little bit of time misdirection, and this is used to force the top card of the deck, the bottom card of the deck, what have you. But this could also be used as a cut, as a false cut, or especially in this routine, the spectator cutting to one of the cards. So now that you have all of these sort of tools, let's put them together and learn how this works. Now you can sort of put this together however you want, do them in any order. This is how I do it, or at least I've been doing it recently. So I figured I'd share it with you guys here. 4 cards are on top. You're going to do first, you're going to explain that, you know, the cards are lost. You shuffle the cards. Now I'm going to try to find 4 of a kind. In this case, kings, let's say. Maybe you do another false shuffle or just retaining top stock. And now I'm going to do the first cut, which is getting my break and doing a classic pass false cut. Now what you want to be sure to not do at this point is to get your break and then have that break being shown before you do the cut, the actual cut. Okay, so the way that I like to do it is sort of dribble, do this, and this is great because you don't have to have your break anywhere particularly, right? So you can just at your own leisure dribble, get your break, hold it there for a second, but make sure you're tilting down, spread it, and when it comes time to cut the deck, you say, look, I'm just gonna cut the deck, and I get the first ace. Now you could also do, or the first king, you could also do this to the table. So I can spread, get my break, and then come to the table, and then do that. This is nice because it's going to set you up for the second move. So the second move, I'm going to go into the second false shuffle right after this. So I find the first one onto the table. I go, there's the first king. Now I pick up with the right hand, and right away, as I pick up with the right hand, I'm picking up an overhand grip and cutting. There's the second one, and then I turn over the second one. Okay, so it has a nice flow to it. So you start off here, you say, I cut, I find the first king. I cut again, and I find the second king. 1, 2. Okay? Now you're going to pick up the deck, and you're going to sort of do a timing force, but using the sort of false cut that we just sort of went over. So the idea is you can do this, right? You can do that and then just reveal the fourth one, or you can do something like this. This is what I like to do. Cut, and then cut a few more, and then spread. So now we're holding a break right where the card is supposed to be cut back up to the top too. So now instead of placing the cards on the table and I do it, I'm going to use sort of a timing force, and I'm going to cut the cards to the table like this, and I'm going to have the spectator say stop. And I'm just going to time it. So I'm here. Now the spectator, I ask the spectator as I start cutting the deck, just say stop anytime you want. And they usually say stop 2 or 3 cuts after you ask them to say stop. Okay, so it's just a timing thing. You're here to say stop anytime you want. Stop. All right, and then you stop, boom, on this one right there. Okay, this goes off to the side, this goes on top, and now you have the last one here. And now what I'm going to do is maybe do another false cut, false shuffle, and say the last one is going to be up to you. And I place the cards on the table, and I say cut anywhere you want. Now before we look at it, and I place the deck right here. And now you go into some sort of timing misdirection, some sort of pattern line that will just distract maybe 5 seconds away from the actual routine, 5 seconds away from where they actually cut. You don't need this particular, you try it out yourself, see how long of a time misdirection you need for this. I say no more than 5 seconds. I sometimes just get them to look up for a second, give 2 lines at most, come down, place this one here, and I keep it separated like that, so as if that's where it came from. I say that's the last one. Let's see if we got lucky. Congratulations, you did it. And it's nice because at the end they find the last one, and all we're doing is we're just combining 4 things that we probably already knew. We knew some false cuts, we knew some forces, and combine that all together. Use your own. Doesn't have to be necessarily these 4 moves. Use your own forces. Use maybe a force for one, a false cut for another, a production for another, and now you've created your own little mini routine that you can do. And now once you have the 4 kings, you can go into sort of anything else that you want. So enjoy that. All right, let's talk about the process of releasing a deck of cards and what goes into sort of these releases that we do on House of Playing Cards, which is my site. So I've been releasing decks of cards for close to 10 years now. Coming up in 2021, it's going to be my 10-year anniversary of when I started my company. And over the years, I produced hundreds of different deck designs. A lot of people just know me maybe for Nox. If you're following my YouTube channel and you're more recent, then you might know me for creating the Nox brand, which is one of the most sought after and popular brands in all of custom cards. But over the years, especially with the Nox brand, I realized that we can't just change the color and release another deck. Some might consider it to be a little boring. And I'll be the first to admit, what's the difference from a red card or a dark red card or a brown card? Well, obviously you can match it to sort of the vibe, the places that you're going to, right? The clothes that you're wearing. But I still wanted to take it a step further to create a feeling, a vibe, a story to each of the deck releases that we do. And this is what we started sort of coming up with. And I have a great team that I work with to create the videos, the ideas for the stories, and putting all of this together so that we are ready to finally release a deck of cards. Now, my suggestion to you is that if you are going to put out anything out into this world, even if it's your personal brand, really take time and effort into building something into it more than it is. This is something that I try to do with my Magic. This is something that I try to do with my playing cards. And basically everything that I do, it doesn't matter if it's related to this industry or not. Take something that is small, simple, or maybe insignificant, and make it more powerful. Make it stand out. Make it more unique. Put something else on top of it and put a little bit more effort in than just doing it, let's say for a deck of cards, doing a deck of cards, taking a few photos and releasing it. That's boring. It's not going to get attention, especially nowadays where your attention is drawn all over the place. What is it that's going to make you stand out? So for these playing cards, I love the cyberpunk, synthwave mixes and the futuristic style. And this is something that was sort of born into the first version of it. That ultimately morphed into the Nock 3000 X2 deck, which is more of a Blade Runner style. Or if you've seen the Netflix show Altered Carbon, I think there's another really terrible movie called Mute on Netflix, which has that sort of same vibe. And over the last year, I've been inspired by this whole sort of genre. So we wanted to make sure everything that we did fit that theme. Now, when it comes to the photos, since we have two decks, I wanted to do two different styles. One, that cyberpunk futuristic vibe, and I went to a store called Cyberdog, and that was just perfect for this deck release. So I took all of these photos in the shop. They were super nice enough to let us take photos in that shop. We filmed a little bit, and these are sort of how they came out. I really like the style, the vibe, and it fits everything perfectly. Now for the pink ones, we actually came across an ice cream shop that had the same sort of vibe as the pink deck, and I wanted to make it seem like a futuristic capsule. So if you were to go into like a capsule and get blasted off into the year 3020 in this case, how would that look? And so it made sense. It was just a little ice cream shop that we found, but the pictures came out really nice for that as well. So now it was time to put a story to the deck, and the story that we're using is a continuation of the first deck's story, which if you haven't seen, link is down below for that. My buddy Nick created an amazing trailer for that, which had a sort of cliffhanger ending, which led to the second version, which the trailer for that is going to be released this Sunday on this channel. But now we had to sort of script the story to make a second part. So for that, I enrolled the help of one of my friends, Kier Gomes. So here is Kier explaining a little bit about the process of creating the story. And maybe if you stick around, he'll, I don't know, he'll give away some decks. Not promising anything, but let's see what he has to say.
What's up, guys? My name is Kier Gomes, and I was one of the creative writers on the Nock 3000 X2 mini film. So I want to talk to you guys about some of what went into making the trailer for the Nock 3000 X2 decks. Right off the bat, one thing that was super clear was that there was a vision kind of set in place during the first trailer last year. There was this whole story, and there was so much potential left for us to tell it that it was definitely one of the first creative directions that I got from Alex, was that we needed to kind of make this canon to the V1. If you guys have seen the V1 trailer, it is obviously chock full of possibilities for things that we could do. So we started by really breaking down what we wanted to accomplish with the deck. So after going back and forth for hours and then days and then weeks, not just talking about the colors of the deck, but what the story is. Why were the decks there? What did they do? What was so special about them? How does any of this make any sense? Now, this entailed a lot of time on the phone with Alex, a lot of back and forth over text, and tons, and I mean tons of random ideas just getting shot out of a cannon back and forth, trying to keep the standard as high as it had been set by Nick in the V1, while still making a story that kind of sets us up for potential other opportunities. The thing about cyberpunk is there's kind of a formula, and you have to know a little bit about it in order to write cyberpunk type content. So we spent some time going back and forth on different shows and documentaries we could watch through Netflix, YouTube, and pretty much everywhere else, really studying the genre of the cyberpunk film era. Now, as most of you know, writing sequels is very tough because you have to answer questions from the first story while still telling a new story. We did that by writing in the role of the AI who kind of explains the gap between then and now, while still showing some amazing visuals of kind of the new story. A lot of times reading the script, I would read it in an AI impression voice. The Nock 3000. Huge shout out to Alex. I mean, I know we really went through it writing this thing, but in my opinion, it worked out. It was worth it. Now, for those of you that don't know, I run a deck review channel here on YouTube, and I will be doing a review of the new Nock 3000 X2 deck. That review is going to drop sometime on Sunday when the deck drops. Now, in that review, I will be giving away a Nock 3000 X2 Standard Edition, as well as the Nock 3000 X2 Limited Edition. What's going to happen is in my review, there's going to be a secret word that pops up somewhere in the video. And for the first 3 hours that video is public, all you have to do is find the secret word and leave it in the comments. After the first 3 hours, we will not be taking submissions anymore. It's only going to be for the people that get there early. So what I would recommend would be head over to my channel. It's linked below. And for everybody else, make sure you go sub to my channel and you can enter to win these beautiful decks of playing cards on my review this Sunday. Okay, so I have taken up enough space in Alex's video. I will see you guys on Sunday. Later.
Alright, so thank you so much, Kier, for helping out with this release. If you want to win some decks from him, link is down below to his channel. So putting all that together, you have the design for the deck, you have the vibe for it, the story that goes on top of it, the photos to match, the video trailer, scripting and mapping everything out. A lot goes into this release. And there is also, of course, another piece of the puzzle that makes this possible. It is you guys. So really, thank you so much for the constant support. Thank you so much for all the kind messages and the anticipation. I know is a lot that was built into this, and I appreciate everyone sticking around and being patient and finally getting your decks. If you'd like to check them out, houseofplayingcards.com, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you very, very much. Alright guys, there you have it. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video, comment down below. Do all the stuff you have to if you appreciate a little bit of the work that I put into it for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you Sunday, and enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Bye.
Analyzing mainframe, Nock 3000.